Bit of a smelly performance from England against Denmark, but what did you guys think of that Italy versus Spain match? Well, hello there. I'm Adrian and welcome back to Euro Daily uploads whenever there are matches during Euro 2024. Everything that went down and discussions happened in the comments section, man. Let's go. Serbia versus Slovenia is where we'll start things off, and I gotta say Serbia has been a bit disappointing to me this tournament, and that's not to take anything away from Slovenia and their performance, because two things can be true at one time. Serbia can be underwhelming or underachieving, while Slovenia have been quite impressive this tournament. Maybe I just had my expectations too high for Serbia. I don't know. Now, they improved as the half went on, as the match went on, that's for sure. But early on, for all of the possession that Serbia had, it was always Slovenia that found the fastest route to goal, or at the very least, the fastest route to the attack, as their attacks didn't always lead to an attempt, but they were quick to get the ball forward and into dangerous areas. Seško was, as expected, was once again a great target man, collecting the ball and facilitating attacks by feeding the Slovenian attackers that were running off of him. He would later sky an effort after collecting a strike that went off of the post. Unfortunate for him there, still looking for a big tournament goal. It's not as if Serbia were locked in their own half, however. They did have a couple of decent forays forward in the first half, where Vlahovic and Mitrovic each had decent chances. In fact, toward the end of the first half, they forced a massive save out of Oblak when Mitrovic showed great strength to hold off a defender and then strike on goal. Again, great save from Oblak. Big man coming up big. Don't think it would have counted either way, because first off, the crosser was offside, I think, and then Mitrovic, I think he was offside as well. So Serbia definitely improved in that half. Shots were 8-6 in favor of Slovenia still, but much of them from early in the half before Serbia began taking control of this game. Would they meet my expectations in the second half? Early on, yes. Mitrovic found himself close to the edge of the six with Oblak on rushing, and the big Slovenian made a fantastic save once again. Tadic and Mitrovic starting to link well at that point. Serbia in general looking dangerous. Tadic looking good for that start that he was given for this one. Now, Serbia were really taking control of this game, and the chances were flooding in, one of the closest being Biol nearly scoring an own goal, but Mitro was finding space more and was also being found by his teammates more, which is almost just as important. However, the threat from Slovenia never went away. They had strikes from distance from Seško that forced big saves out of Rejkovic, forays forward that looked dangerous but were always just a misplaced pass away from truly troubling Serbia, until they did. An attack that was started by right back Jan Karnicic. I'm going to say his name wrong every single time. It just doesn't compute in my head. It doesn't. Karnicic. It was finished off by him on the other side of the pitch, getting on the end of substitute Elsnik's ball across the box for 1-0 Slovenia. Karnicic became the first player from the Slovenian league to score in a European championship. Serbia's tournament was on the line at that point, and they nearly answered immediately with Mitrovic, though his attempt did cannon off of the bar. However, this is Euro 2024, isn't it? There's always a twist. There's always another goal. The matches have been incredible, for the most part, at least. And this was no exception. Slovenia were so close to taking a massive step toward the knockout rounds, and when they conceded a corner in the final minute of added time, from that corner, while the defender had a handful of his jersey, Luka Jovic guided a header into the far corner of the goal to make it 1-1 and save Serbia's tournament. Maybe. They still need to win their next match. Of all the strikers to save Serbia, it was Jovic, a guy whose career has been a bit meandering since his stunning season at Eintracht Frankfurt, which feels like it was ages ago at this point. He was the hero. He was active and on it when he came onto the pitch. Serbia steal a draw. Heartbreak for Slovenia, but it's not over for them. All that they've done is ensure that it goes to the final match now. And so to Frankfurt for England versus Denmark, the other match in this group. England rolled out the exact same lineup as their previous match, still wasting Foden on the wing in my opinion. Move him central, move Jude a bit deeper, move Alexander-Arnold to the bench, and put Gordon on the wing. Anyone. But anyway, that's just my opinion on things. For Denmark, our old friend Joachim Mæhle, now playing for Wolfsburg, he came into the side for Alex Ba. And again, England started quite well, with Denmark looking a little bit nervous to start out, so the lion's share, I guess pun intended there, of the danger was with England's attackers early on and leading up to the breakthrough. Kyle Walker, catching the Danish defender looking a bit sleepy out there, nicks the ball off of him and drives into the box with it. Now here, I thought he actually chose poorly and that he should have cut it back to Kane earlier, but he waited. It took 2 deflections and still found its way to Kane to slot it in. very fortunate in some ways, but it was a good mistake, I guess, from Walker. And it was Harry Kane's 14th goal for England in a major tournament, but his first ever in a European Championship group stage match. Pretty crazy. From there, England fell into a similar pattern as they did against Serbia. They weren't looking to drive ahead and score a few more goals. They became a bit more pragmatic. They began sitting back more in their 4-4-2 formation, and when coupled with Denmark's newfound impetus to actually play ball and find a goal, you could feel a goal coming for Denmark. It was obvious to everyone that it was going to happen eventually. Eriksen had a decent run in the box, cutting it back to Højlund, but it led to nothing. Then the goal came. A thunderbolt that was reminiscent of Eder's tournament winner for Portugal against France. Morten Hjulmand smashed it from range, and it dipped past Pickford, off the post and in for 1-1. That goal was the first time England have conceded in the group stage of a Euro since Gareth Bale's free kick in 2016, and they didn't really look confident or comfortable after that. There are these moments against England where they look vulnerable or like they lack belief in themselves. Maybe it's a lack of respect for their opposition at times and that they think they're in complete control. I don't know. I don't think it's that. Really, I think it's a deliberate thing from Southgate, who wants them to play incredibly safe, and he doesn't really make the changes to the team in order to facilitate them playing more expansively. Anyway, in the second half, they seem to have found a spark again, pun intended, considering the English fans love to sing Dancing in the Dark, with Bukayo Saka causing plenty of issues down the right, though Foden smacked one off of the post as well. When did he do that? When he was in a more central location, of course, central and just a bit to the right of center. Anyway, England again needed someone who could progress the ball from midfield, progressing it by driving through the midfield with it in their possession, and he took off Alexander-Arnold for Conor Gallagher, which again, he's a great presser of the ball, but when you want control, why not bring on Gordon for Alexander, move Foden central, and Bellingham deeper? To me, it's the obvious move. It's just one change you can make to change your team a lot. I mean, you got to see firsthand what Bellingham can do from a deeper location. When Watkins came on, did you see the ball Bellingham played through to him for his first opportunity? More of that. It was brilliant. Why not put him in that position? You have Palmer you could put ahead of him. You have Foden you could put ahead of him. But anyway, I'm not even English. I don't care if the English do well or not. But seeing the talent they have misused like that, whew. While Denmark weren't as good in the second half, they found their feet late in the match and had a flurry of chances. Bah stole the ball away, didn't take a single good touch, and allowed Mark Guéhi, for me, England's man of the match, to catch him and block his attempted cross. Then from the corner, Christensen was alone on the edge of the six and hit it over somehow. Shortly after, Højbjerg cut inside on the edge of the box and missed the top corner. I mean, England were sleepwalking and fortunate that Denmark weren't sharper in the finish. So 1-1 the final, another subpar performance. And as you see some of the problems that they have, such as in the middle of the park, and then you see Cole Palmer sitting on the bench, not getting a look once again, it's a bit odd, isn't it? For England, their top performer was undoubtedly Mark Guéhi, and with some cleaner finishing from Denmark there, they could have been in big trouble. Horrible watch, honestly, if you're English. Ever since that second half against Serbia, England have been really difficult to watch, haven't they? But as things stand, England sit top with 4 points and should be through unless something insane happens. Denmark and Slovenia on 2 points apiece, Serbia on 1. England face Slovenia next, while Denmark will take on Serbia. Back to Group B for a huge matchup between Italy and Spain, a repeat of the Euro 2012 final, Euro 2020 semi-final, and Aymeric Laporte was back in the lineup for the injured Nacho, so he partnered his French buddy Lenormand, a couple of French fellas that played in the Basque Country at the heart of Spain's defense. Italy, unchanged. While these teams were trading momentum with some end-to-end football, it was Spain who should have scored, as Nico Williams floated to the back post and managed to head wide somehow, as he was relatively unchallenged. This was a really entertaining game, actually, with Italy finding much of their attacking joy down the flanks, namely the left flank, when they would hit Spain in transition, at least in the first half. The second half, it was the right flank. Spain, they would find much of their industry in the attack from Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal, but with the Italians doubling up on the wingers and making it difficult for them, you would often see Williams floating inside, getting pretty close to Alvaro Morata, which allowed Cucurella to push forward. In fact, that's how Williams got that golden opportunity early-ish in the half, from floating into the middle instead of sticking closer to the touchline, as Yamal is more likely to do. The big chances continued to fall to Spain throughout this match as they were really flowing nicely. First, there was Fabian Ruiz, who forced a huge save out of Donnarumma as he hit a rocket from about 20 yards out. Then Rodri later had a shot blocked as Spain were moving the ball around the Italians with ease, honestly. And wasn't this match a breath of fresh air compared to what came before it in the England and Denmark match? The technical ability, the speed of play, all of it was greatly improved. But anyway, for Italy, you really noticed that they had not much of a midfield at all, which is something that I mentioned in the preview. The fact that Nicolo Fagioli, a guy who spent the entirety of the season pretty much suspended, has made it into this Italy squad tells you everything you need to know about the current options that Spalletti has in the midfield. That's not an indictment on the quality of Fagioli or anything, more an indictment on Italian midfielders that nobody else stood up over the course of the season, and a guy who was serving a gambling ban since October was able to make the squad still. And you could see it in this match, as Italy basically didn't have a midfield for much of that first half. There was no build-up when they got the ball. They were pinned back, won the ball, and would be forced into launching an attack over and over. A midfield who can withstand the press, who's press resistant, just wasn't showing face out there. And oftentimes the counters ended up with them just coughing up possession and Spain would attack once again. That very much continued in the second half, and with Spain pushing and dominating the ball, they finally had their breakthrough with that same scorer in this tournament. Once again, own goal. Own goal on an absolute tear, but it came from a whipped cross that Morata got a touch on. It bounced off Donnarumma and directly into Calafiori, who was trying to retreat to get onto the line. From there, Spain continued to run riot as they had an attempt cleared off the line by Cambiaso, and they were just playing with their food a bit. They were playing with Italy at this point. Italy didn't have a single shot on target after an hour, and the Olays were starting to ring out at 1-0. That's how dominant Spain were. Lamine Yamal had a hit on goal because why not? And he nearly beat Donnarumma at the far post. It was a bit cruel, but maybe a bit disrespectful is the right word from the crowd with the Olays that were ringing around, considering there was still about 30 minutes to go. You're tempting fate by doing that. But we started to see some life from Italy around the 63rd minute or so. They were actually able to hold on to the ball, and that got the Olays from the Spaniards to stop for a while. But the danger didn't stop, with Williams continuing his fantastic play, cutting inside and hammering the crossbar. Very, very close calls for Italy. Spain, right to feel frustrated in this one, considering the attempts they had and how close they came so many times. Just one goal. Oof. Now and then, Italy would have a moment, such as Cristante trying to square to Retegui, and it nearly worked. But the point remains, they had 2 attempts by the 85th minute, and not a single one was on target. By the end of the match, they had 4 attempts, 1 on target. And Donnarumma was their man of the match by a long shot with 8 saves. 3 or 4 of them were very impressive. 1-0 Spain the final, they win the group. But what I will say about Spain is that they have a fantastic starting 11, but once I see Ferran Torres and Oyarzabal coming on, respect to them, but they start to lose their potency in the attack. To be fair to him, I was going to mention Ayoze Perez as well, but he had a couple of nice moments where he nearly scored. Maybe he deserves to be amongst the undesirables I mentioned because he wasn't able to convert either chance when he should have. Really poor on the second one especially, but his ability to beat the man on the dribble was nice, so I'll cut him some slack. As mentioned, Spain are finishing top of this group no matter what happens in their match against Albania, while Italy have some work to do against Croatia. Should be a great end to the group with all 3 teams still in play. Not many goals, tons of close calls in that match though, I thoroughly enjoyed it myself. I can still enjoy a match with few goals. I know a lot of people on the internet don't agree with that. But anyway, tomorrow we have some fun ones such as France versus Netherlands, looking like masked Mbappe will play, and I'm excited to see Austria again. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.